The Golden State was praying for rain, and now they've got it. But now they're getting too much of a good thing.
Further north, the severe weather has knocked some homes into the ocean and caused some fatalities. Now, even more rain, snow, and winds are on the way. George Thomas has details.
The so-called Pineapple Express storm has been wreaking havoc for days now.
I was just wanting to take a picture of the rain coming down, and within like 5 minutes, my car was almost submerged underwater.
From Northern California, where highways to side streets to entire neighborhoods are reeling from a deluge of water, to western Washington state, where the ocean is swallowing up land and some homes along a street called Washaway Beach are barely hanging on, while others are being washed away.
It's gone. Came faster than we thought. Yeah, for sure.
Now folks in this neighborhood banding together to help each other out.
Like right now, they're all together helping our neighbor across the street who is losing their house, obviously, really soon.
The storm system in the west has produced some amazing pictures and video as well. By the way, this is the worst California has seen in 5 years, and the massive storm is expected to deluge most of the state through the weekend. Hardest hit, San Francisco. Flooded roadways and toppled trees kept thousands from work and school. But not these guys. Cleanup crews are out in force trying to clear up the mess as residents take stock of the damage. This was the scene near the Santa Clara border, where a massive tree came down on this SUV. Fortunately, no one was hurt.
That tree has been there probably for a few hundred years, and eventually this is the sort of thing that happens when there's a big rainstorm.
With tens of thousands without power and roads underwater, some folks found creative ways to get around. These kids relying on a shopping cart to get through a flooded parking lot. Now all eyes are on Southern California as residents hit earlier by wildfires prepare for the storm and potential mudslides. George Thomas, CBN News.
Prayers go out to the West Coast that people would be safe and not be caught in these floodwaters. Please be in prayer for them. Well, it's a rare scene from our nation's capital. President Obama helped House Republicans push through a bill to keep the government running. John Jessup has more on that story from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. John?
Gordon, that huge spending bill now heads to the Senate after the House got a White House assist to prevent a government shutdown. That's something both Democrats and Republicans want to avoid. The 1,600-page bill comes in at a whopping $1.1 trillion. It will keep most government agencies funded through next summer. Despite weeks of debate, neither party was totally pleased with the final bill.
There's not one of you in this room that doesn't understand that this is exactly the way I don't want to do business.
We all need to stand and fight.
If the president were writing this bill himself, this bill would look a lot different.
Liberals were angry that the bill loosens campaign finance laws and Wall Street regulations. Many conservatives oppose the bill because it did not block President Obama's recent executive action on immigration. But others were pleased because it trims the budget at the Environmental Protection Agency and cuts back on federal overreach. America's current CIA chief held an extremely rare press conference to push back against the Senate's report on torture. John Brennan responded to new revelations about how some members of his agency used harsh interrogation methods, such as waterboarding, on terror suspects shortly after the 9/11 attacks. He said the information gained from the Enhanced Interrogation Techniques, or EITs, was valuable in fighting what was then our new enemy, al-Qaeda.
There was information obtained subsequent to the application of EITs from detainees that was useful in the bin Laden operation.
Brennan said it's impossible to know whether the same information would have been acquired had the interrogators not used the enhanced interrogation techniques. President Obama is ramping up efforts to shut down the detention center in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. The past month has brought a sudden surge in releases, with a dozen terror suspects transferred overseas. That's more than all of last year and the most since 2010. Officials say at least 5 more will be released by the end of the year. In total, 68 of the remaining 136 suspects have been cleared for transfer. Last month, the president met with top officials to work on a plan to shut down Gitmo. Officials say outgoing Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel was forced out because he opposed the plan. Closing Gitmo actually would require either approval from Congress or bold unilateral action by the president. And administration officials say that hasn't been ruled out. Well, an ordinance that would have allowed transgender males to use women's and girls' restrooms, showers, and locker rooms in Fayetteville, Arkansas, has been overruled by voters there. It's the local law Michelle Duggar campaigned against, leading gay rights activists to protest her family's show, 19 Kids and Counting. 52% of those voting said no to the ordinance. The American Family Association applauded the outcome, saying, "We are encouraged to see voters came out to voice their concerns about privacy issues, safety, religious liberties, and the health of local businesses." Well, a children's book that left Israel off the Middle Eastern map is being corrected and reprinted. Scholastic Inc. says the omission of Israel from the map was inadvertent. The largest children's book publisher in the nation says they'll stop printing the book until the corrected copy is made. The book, Tia Stilton and the Blue Scarab Hunt, is part of a series, but is the only book with the error. The Zionist Organization of America wants concerned citizens to contact Scholastic. They're calling on the company to investigate how it happened and to suspend or terminate those responsible. A drive-by shooting at the Israeli embassy in Greece is under investigation. It happened in the early morning before the building was officially open, so there were no injuries. But authorities say at least 20 bullet casings were found near the scene of the attack in Athens. So far, no claim of responsibility. Well, political unrest and anti-Semitism around the globe are driving many Jews from their home countries. Surprisingly, though, many are finding refuge in what much of the world might see as a dangerous place, Israel. As Chris Mitchell reports, the number of immigrants entering the country is at a 5-year high.
When 19-year-old Alexandrina Zolodev saw her family safely on the ground in Israel, she couldn't stop crying.
When I saw them, I cried a lot. My mom cried too. It's really a happy day, but we're crying a lot.
Alexandrina immigrated here last year when Ukraine was still relatively quiet. Then the fighting began, catching her family in the middle of it.
When I lost contact with them, I was very worried because I didn't know what happened there. They called later and my dad told me that every day they were sleeping in the cellar.
Nearly 25,000 Jewish people immigrated to Israel since the Rosh Hashanah holiday last year. Many of them came from war zones or places where anti-Semitism is on the rise.
For the first time, the biggest number of Jews who come to Israel is from France. We have a big increase from Russia and Ukraine.
Jewish Agency Chairman Natan Sharansky immigrated to Israel after spending years in a Soviet prison.
For me, it's especially exciting to see these families from Ukraine who are coming from the places where I grew. These places are destroyed now by the war.
He said Christians play a big role in helping Jewish immigrants connect with his agency. When they do come, many arrive with little more than the clothes on their backs.
They come here without anything, without maybe 2 suitcases, that's all, because of bombing. And Israel is the country that can help them.
Sharansky says these immigrants are fulfilling Jewish prayers and Bible prophecy, in which God promises to bring his people back to the land.
Every of these Jews is closing the circle of thousands of years, at least 50 generations of his fathers and grandfathers and great-grandfathers. We're praying next year in Jerusalem. And here they are this day in Jerusalem.
The Zolodev family will settle in the Israeli community of Ra'anana, and Alexandrina will soon join the IDF. Alexandrina's dad arrived on his 41st birthday and says he has hope for the future, that his dreams will be fulfilled. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Ben Gurion Airport, Tel Aviv.
That was an unforgettable birthday for that dad. Gordon, back to you.
Unforgettable indeed, and a fulfillment of biblical prophecy. You look at Jeremiah 16, chapter 16, verse 16, and you see the specific promise that God will send fishermen, he'll send hunters up to the north to gather them in and bring them back to the land of Israel. If you want to be a part of helping them, because they are coming back with nothing, they're literally coming out of a war zone, The rise of anti-Semitism in Ukraine is unbelievable, and they need our help. So if you want to be a part of it, CBN Israel is doing our part to help them. We're also helping Holocaust survivors. We're also providing the funds for the news report you just saw. So it's all made possible when you give to that designated fund. It's called CBN Israel. There's a place on the website, cbn.com, where you can designate your gift to it. You can also write to us, CBN Center, Virginia Beach, Virginia. Just put on the memo line of the check, CBN Israel, or you can just call us, 1-800-759-0700. Just say, I want to help Israel. I want to be a blessing to Israel.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu won a key vote Thursday within his Likud party. The party voted by a big majority to change the Likud primary date to the end of December. That means Netanyahu will not likely face a strong challenge from within his party before national elections come March. Netanyahu thanked supporters in Tel Aviv and blasted Israel's leftist media. He decried what he called a public campaign to support any politician or party that opposes a Likud-led government under me. Operation Blessing is bringing joy to children at a Peruvian school this Christmas. The San Jose preschool serves about 80 children from an impoverished community. They never had enough resources for a Christmas celebration. This year, Operation Blessing and the Livingstones Ministry delighted the children with entertainment and even a special gift for every child. Operation Blessing has also been working on infrastructure and safety issues at the school and working with parents to develop micro-enterprise and livelihood projects to help them rise out of poverty. You can always find out more about Operation Blessing by going to its website, ob.org.